Where were you guys back in 1994? I'll tell you where I was. I was in middle school and I was confused as ever because of this Spider-Man, best hero of all time. But for the beautiful years of 1994 to 1996, early 97, we were engulfed in a classic called the Clone Saga. What is the Clone Saga? Well, to understand that you have to go back to 93. What happened with Batman? Oh, he got his back broken and somebody took over for him and he put on this big suit of armor and just started stabbing people's eyes out. What happened with Superman? He got killed and they had all these four imposters that were like, haha, I'm a cyborg, I'm a teenager, you know, I'm cool, I'm this, we'll beat people up. Dark and gritty, that's where it was. So what did Marvel Comics do? They said, hey, you know what? Spider-Man's happily married and has a sense of humor. Wrong. Let's make that dark and gritty. Let's shake things up. So what they did is they introduced the Spider Clone from Amazing Spider-Man number 150 back in the 70s and brought him back. What triggered Spider-Man, the one we knew before the clone showed up, to go crazy? Well, Aunt May had a stroke. She's old. She's had heart issues since the 60s. But what happened? She fell down. She had a stroke. Peter Parker's like, I am the Spider. I am the Knight. I am... Wait, DC infringement. I am Spider-Man, but dark. So he was going around doing that. Mary Jane found out she was pregnant, and Spider-Man's like, don't care. Talk to the hand. I am the Spider. So then, in The Web of Spider-Man, number 121 was part one of what would go to become the Clone Saga. So anyway, like I was telling you about the Clone Saga, the Scarlet Spider, he doesn't have his own costume, so he goes and get this big hoodie, you know, because that says Spider-Man. Meanwhile, Peter Parker's still brooding, and he's like, I am the Spider, I am the Knight. Once again, going back. And then, what happens is the Jackal shows up, and it's like, hey, the Jackal died back in Amazing Spider-Man number 150. Wrong. No, he cloned himself way back then, but he's been bathing, you know, for all these 5 years in this chemical goo, so it's turned him into a real Jackal. He's not a college professor anymore. Oh, yeah, I kid myself sometimes, but that really happened. So anyway, you know, the Scarlet Spider's running around, and Spider-Man's all dark and gritty, and they go to the Jackal, who's up in, see, he's so excited, he loves the story, I can't tell you enough. So they go to the Antarctic where the Jackal's lair is. He comes out and he's like, guys, guess what? You're both clones and the real Gwen Stacy's over there. So then they found out that the third Peter Parker clone thought he was the real clone, but that led into maximum clonage, and he decided to go from the regular Peter Parker to this bulked up Hulk named Spider-Side. His clothes could change shapes and this and that and all that. And then Peter Parker's like, hey, I want to be a baby daddy anyway. And Ben Riley's like, well, I want to be the original Spider-Man. So he's like, okay, here you go. And he gives him the costume. But Ben Riley's like, I'm the real Spider-Man. I'm going to spruce it up and start a new series. So he does, and he puts the web shooters on the outside of his costume. On the outside of his costume. Who does that? The villains can easily, you know, dismantle his web shooters. I mean, it's so obvious. But this guy, you know, thought he's a clone for 5 years, so whatever. And then it gets even better. What happens? Who's he go up against? A blizzard. He's in New York, and there's this big blizzard, and guess who comes out? It's Mysterio. But it's not the Mysterio we know and love. It's Mysterio in this 1995 costume. And he's like, and he's got, instead of the purple and green, he's got the black, because he's Dark Mysterio. And guess what? We don't have Peter and Mary Jane in there, so we need a new girlfriend romantic interest for our new hero. Well, he gets an apartment in this rundown little slum. Who's his neighbor? A girl named Jessica. Who was her daddy? The burglar that killed Uncle Ben. Coincidence. Oh. So then, you'll never get it. Spider-Man's got his powers back, the clone, but then we found out he's the original, but not until the original Green Goblin comes back. That was the big, he was behind the whole thing. And what happens? You know, he's like, I'm the clone, I'm not the real one. And Peter Parker's like, well, I guess I am the real one. And then the Green Goblin starts, oh, you didn't hear the end. Come on, man. What about the resolution? So then, you know, it's like the Peter Parker clone finds out he's the real thing. But oh no, the Green Goblin's behind it. And at the same time, Mary Jane's pregnant in labor with the baby. So Peter's trying to get back there. But Ben's like, I'm not the clone. But the Green Goblin stabs him. And he turns into dust. And Peter's like, I am the real Spider-Man. And they fight and they duke it out. And the best thing about it is this all happened on Halloween. Because, get it? Goblins, ghosts, goblins. I mean, it's fantastic. Get the irony? And the best thing, Ben Riley thought he was the real one, and all his friends were in danger, but they didn't know him because he was a clone. Oh my God, isn't that awesome? Wait, you don't get it. I got to She comes out of a pod, and she's naked, and she's like, hey y'all.